You didn't?
No, it was probably at some kind of party. I know I think about the third time, might have been at Hall Waltz, but I think I
Yeah,
know the
yeah.
third time was at Elizabeth Lycata's wedding. And I think that was about the third time. That was the first time I talked to him for any extended amount of time.
Okay, right.
He was nervous because he was talking to a famous guy.
Yes, that's right.
Well, I mean,
Right.
you know, I mean,
Can't
I told
forget.
him this, being the you know, the critic of
Right.
the Buffalo News, the guy who can make or break you in this town. I sort of resisted talking to him because I thought he was probably pestered constantly by people that, you know, wanted to suck up to him.
I was
Were
just
you?
waiting for someone to talk to me.
And and then I got
I
this,
go to an art opening, everybody.
yeah.
I think that's what everybody felt though,
Yeah.
when you were the art critic though. Most people felt that way, if they didn't know you a little bit.
Yeah.
And I remember saying to my wife, you know, I think he wants to talk to me because every time I talk, he keeps going, and I just walk away. So I said, okay, next time I'm going to keep talking. And
Desperate for
then we had a
coffee.
long conversation.
Well, I mean, you had a
Yeah.
pretty solitary.
You know, and he'd walk away in the middle of a sentence. That was amazing. You know, I mean, I was talking. I had
Well,
a
that-
major
Well, your
point.
sentences go on, so.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go, perfect. So when did you start sharing studio space? How did that happen?
1994.
So, I mean, you guys have been sharing the studio then for, what, almost 15 years, 14 years?
14 years.
14 years?
That's my reason.
But you become friends over the years sharing this space, but did you ever get a chance to even talk to each other very much while you're here? Or
Yeah.
do you
Oh,
s-
yeah.
Oh, you
Oh,
did?
we ruined many a painting night.
Oh,
by
yeah?
Talking, yeah.
So what kind
I'd
of,
say some innocent thing, and then Bruce would take off on a dissertation for 12 hours or something on it. And
Yeah, that's true, I'm sure.
You did
You had nothing to say.
Yeah.
so what kind of things would you talk about?
Well, I would describe the ongoing thing as our differing views of the nature of making art, I guess,
Yeah.
in a way.
Right.
I tend to approach it from a sort of intellectual, rational point of view, and you can describe
For
your...
me, not being rational. As I said yesterday in my talk at the Castellani, that, you know, those diagrams of dogs' brains,
Mm-hmm.
where they have a huge amount devoted to dog biscuits. So that's like my brain, is that much is devoted to art making. But then there's a little tiny sliver, a little pie slice for rational stuff. Or, yeah, am I right?
Right.
You know, it's all squeezed in that space. Conversation, rational conversation
Right.
like this is only in that little
Right,
spot.
right.
And things like the simple recognition that human life is made up of hours and minutes and not some big eternity where I can have coffee for 3 hours in the morning and waste my time. So my approach is much more emotionally based.
Here's the difference, and it kind of illustrates this between us. One of the reasons why I get a lot accomplished, and I would say I actually have, over the period of time we've been here, you have a lot of small pieces, but in terms of larger pieces, I have quite a few. And I can think about what I want to do. I have so many, you know, as you know, so many irons in the fire, and I'm doing so many things. So when I get here, I've thought it through, and I'm ready to get to work. And I will say, this is the painting I want to do, and I will do it. Now, I'll watch Richard paint something, and under every painting, there's 10 other good paintings that he's painted over.
Well,
I'll
he
watch him
thinks they're
paint
good.
over and over. Yeah, because he's never satisfied. I go, that looks great. Yeah, no, I don't like it. I'm going to go over. And there's layer over layer of what I think, you know, 10 times I go, that's a good painting. I like that. He goes, it's not time yet.
See, I call that the sugar plum stage, where you think you're just going to do it the first time through, you know, and these visions of this great painting are dancing in your head. And then reality, for me anyway, cuts in at a certain point. And I have to start making stabs in the dark, trial and error,
Right.
endless revisions.
Doesn't
And
live
the-
up to the vision.
Yeah, so these things just keep, pretty soon rationality is thrown out the window.
And I'll just do it the first time through.
My motto is never trust an artist who knows what he's doing.
My motto is never share a studio with an artist who knows what he's doing. Just kidding. It's a little joke.
No, so I came out, I mean, really, it's an age difference too, because I came out of de Kooning and
Right.
Pollock and all the
Right.
abstract expressionists and grew up with that. And basically, you were still a little kid.
Yep.
And you know, you didn't hit your stride until pop art, which is,
I didn't even hit my stride then. It
no?
was considerably later, yeah, that I
Really?
actually got well, I mean, as a person interested in art,
Yeah.
you know, pop art would be
Yeah.
about right, just about right. But as a person actively participating, it was somewhat later.
Yeah, and people like Warhol would use a pretty direct conceptual approach, but he was always a painter in some
Right.
way.
Right.
But he would know pretty much what he was gonna try to do, and then he'd let his materials screw it up in some interesting way, you know, by having the silk screen go, you know,
Right,
go
right.
off or off register or some other kind of thing. So that's a good example of someone who sort of follows your way of working.
Yeah, Warhol follows my way of working.
Oh, yeah,
we look
that's-
back at yeah, that was nice of you to
What
help
an
him
awful
out.
comparison, huh?
Yeah, nice of you.
Pretty heady comparison.
Yeah.
So when you guys meet here and you occasionally
Are you gonna be here all the time?
have conversations, is it always about your approach to this stuff? Because you're so
Yes.
different that way? Is it
It does,
inevitably?
it does lead to big arguments.
Does
Here's
it
About the
really?
approach. Like one time I mentioned Giotto, and he said, oh yeah, well, he's just a thing of the past. He has
He's paraphrasing
relevance.
heavily here.
no relevance to today, and, but that's what you said.
That's what you remember I said.
That's what you said.
Here's what I have to say. We do have these extended conversations, and they're totally civil, and we have, you know, we really, really seriously disagree about things, but they're entirely civil. We go back and forth and back and forth. There's never a raised voice or anything. It's all very, you know,
Right.
calm and collected.
Does it ever
Um,
result in you looking at your work and going, oh, okay, maybe I'll do this instead? Because of the conversation I just had with,
No, not for, I don't think.
I knew he would say no. And my belief is that you can't really interact with another person and not somehow be affected. Everything you interact with, and, you know, all day,
Right.
interact with a TV show may in some way give you a thought. Certainly another person avidly discussing art could conceivably give you a thought, but I knew you would say no. There came a point when Richard, we'd have these discussions, and he would say, well, you should write a review.
right,
And I would just
Yes.
say, what a ridiculous thought, I can't write. And he would say that periodically, you know, maybe every 6 months to a year, he would just, and it was a toss-off comment, and I actually didn't even know if he meant it, you know?
So now he does it.
But then he
Yes.
finally talked me into it, to
Mhm.
giving it a try, which I did sort of conditionally. I think
Did
I
I
tried to,
heavily edit it,
no, actually from the
and this was
start.
for the Buffalo News.
But here, yeah,
Okay.
but this was great, this is great, when, you know, when I used to submit things, if he had concerns about it, he would call me and we would talk it over line by line, and he would explain why he thought I should write it differently, and that was really a learning experience for me. It was really helpful. And to this day, I hear his incessant comments in my head while I'm writing. I get to the end of a paragraph, and I go, I can't just start out that paragraph, I have to refer to the previous thing, you know?